Right, thank you for clicking on this video, and as you've read the title, this will be about alcohol and what it is and why it is bad for you. Alright, so I will be referring to alcohol and ethanol interchangeably in this video, and that is because in most alcoholic beverages, I'd say, the thing that is alcohol is the ethanol, but there are other organic compounds such as like butanol. Maybe you've like heard of methanol and stuff like that. That have the similar effect, but methanol makes you blind, and butanol is used rarely. And it comes from different plants, but it's mainly ethanol. So, ethanol comes from the anaerobic respiration in yeast, which is like it's making its own energy. Like we breathe in, we've got our lungs, they go to all our cells, and then we've got the mitochondria. You've probably heard mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, that does aerobic respiration. But in these yeast cells, it's without oxygen, and as a byproduct, you've got ethanol. So in this word equation, we've got glucose goes to ethanol plus carbon dioxide, which is shown here. The formula of glucose, C6H12O6, is converted to C2H5OH plus CO2, because that's the formula for ethanol and carbon dioxide. It's the same as the word equation, but just in molecular format. And then this is the structure of alpha glucose. And then you've got, this is ethanol, which is what we're interested in, which is 2 carbon atoms. Most of the things in the eth group, I don't really know how to explain it. You've got ethane, that's got 2 carbon atoms. Ethene, 2 carbon atoms, and ethanol, 2 carbon atoms. They're all organic compounds. But that's more chemistry. This is the biology lesson. So yeah, hydrogen atom bonded to each carbon atom with an OH functional group, also known as a hydroxyl group at the end. Yep, and then you've got CO2 as well. So yeah, that is how ethanol is made. And now I will move on to what ethanol does once it's in your body. So I'll see you in a second. Right, so please do forgive me for how terrible this diagram is, but it does contain most of the body parts that we're going to need to know for this next part. So this is the alcohol, when you drink the alcohol in the beverage that it has, the alcohol goes through the mouth, down the esophagus, and into the stomach. And in the stomach, it is then allowed, more on this later, it is allowed into the intestines, but it is specifically absorbed into the bloodstream from the small intestine. Hopefully you can see that. But yeah, when it goes into the blood, the first place that it goes is the liver. More on the function of the liver later, but the liver is a very, very important organ in the body, and it's responsible basically for filtering the blood. And because alcohol is in the blood, it filters the alcohol. Yeah, so in the liver, an enzyme called alcohol dehydrogenase breaks down some of the alcohol into acetaldehyde. This acetaldehyde is actually more toxic than the alcohol itself, but luckily this is broken down into acetate, which is completely fine for the, not completely fine for the body, but like it's easy to process. But unluckily, and we'll get this through a little bit later into the effects of alcohol and the factors that affect this, but some of this alcohol is not broken down and therefore goes to the heart, and everybody knows the heart pumps blood around the body, and then therefore the blood which contains the alcohol goes to the brain. Now, the brain is very interesting. I could talk for hours and hours about the brain, but specifically for alcohol, it affects neurotransmitters such as GABA, glutamate, dopamine, and other things such as endorphins. So yeah, basically what happens when the alcohol gets to your brain is it will slow down your reactions. It will reduce your inhibitions, it will lower your brain activity, your neurons aren't talking to each other as much, and therefore you've got lower mental capacity. But you also feel happier and more relaxed. Also, it goes to the hypothalamic pituitary axis, which has the hypothalamus, which monitors body conditions, and also the pituitary gland, which is known as the master gland, and it controls pretty much all the other glands and hormones in your body. So if you think about your hormones, it's probably from or due to the pituitary gland. So yeah, this means that when the hypothalamus sees you've got loads of alcohol, it will decrease your production of ADH, antidiuretic hormone, which means that you're going to need the toilet more, and you'll have less electrolytes because it's all going into your urine, and therefore you'll have less water, less hydration, and you'll lose your electrolytes, which means that it's harder to get rehydrated, which is really horrible. So basically, overall, the effect of alcohol, this is really simplistic, but the effect of alcohol on the body is you've got less inhibitions, you've got less water, you've got less hydration, it's harder to get rehydrated. You feel a bit happier, you feel a bit more relaxed, but kind of counter to this is the increase in production of the hormone cortisol and adrenaline, which means that you're more stressed, and your adrenaline, so you like fight or flight, because alcohol affects the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight. So you're stressed, your inhibitions are lowered, which basically means like you'll do whatever you want because you can't see what's bad about it. So yeah, it's really not a good mix. And yeah, next we've got the effect long term. So long term, people don't really realise this. Most people just think, oh yeah, I'll just get drunk for a night and then it's fine. But it's really not, in my opinion, because this is what happens in like the minutes, hours and stuff like that. What happens over the months, years and decades is just really nasty. So basically, in the brain, your neurons, your nerve cells, they can be killed over time. And this means that you're going to have lower reaction time. This means that you're going to potentially have memory loss and lower cognitive function, which is bad. And back to the liver. You see, the liver, it filters your blood. It's very, very important. Every single thing, it's not just alcohol that's toxic to your body. A lot of things are toxic to your body, and your liver needs to filter it, which means that if you keep on pumping toxins and toxins and toxins and toxins into your liver over time, it's going to be harmed. And this is called liver cirrhosis, which is basically where the liver, it doesn't work anymore as well. It's basically destroyed. So you don't want that at all, because that means that you're going to either have to have a transplant or dialysis, which is where you get like a hospital liver, like a machine, and it filters your blood for you. And it's just, you don't need to. It doesn't need to happen. But yeah, and also your immune system, it will damage your immune system, which means that it's easier to get infected and hurt by certain diseases. And I'll probably do a video on the immune system later, because the immune system is very, very interesting. Okay, so very good. But as always, the alcohol in different volumes can affect different people in different amounts. Mainly, it's about blood concentration. So if you just think of anything that could increase or decrease the concentration of alcohol in the blood, then that will probably change the effect, because the more concentrated of alcohol in the blood, the more it's going to get to your brain. So like increased water, your gender, women have less blood than men. So anything like that will increase the blood alcohol concentration and increase the effects. Also, there is the pyloric sphincter. This is around about here in the stomach, and it basically, if you've eaten loads and loads and loads of food, it will squeeze up, and this means that it basically won't allow the alcohol through into the small intestine, where it will then be pumped around the body in the blood and all that kind of stuff. So that means that if you eat a big meal, the alcohol will try and get through, but it won't be able to. Because it will still get absorbed through the stomach, but not as much. But yeah, you've also got like how quickly you drink it, because if you drink it really slowly, then the liver will have more time to use the enzyme of the alcohol dehydrogenase to convert it down into the acetate and then just get it from the body, and it won't have to go to your brain and all that nasty stuff. But if you drink it really quickly, it will have less time to convert it down, and therefore it just hits you all at once. You don't have time. Your body doesn't have time to react, literally. So yeah, what an interesting thought. I think that's I mean, there's obviously more stuff such as like genetic factors and things like that affects different people in different ways, but that's like the main stuff. But just don't drink too much. Don't drink at all if you don't want these side effects, because yeah. In conclusion, I do not think that it should be banned in the UK or anywhere in the world, but I'm from the UK. But I do think that it should have more attention drawn to it, like cigarettes. They have big warning labels on them saying this will cause XYZ. I do think that, given what I've just said, maybe make people more aware of what it does, because it's not amazing for you, and a lot of people think it is. A lot of people think it's healthy, which it most certainly is not. But yeah, I do not want it to be banned, and I don't have any problems with people drinking it as long as they don't endanger themselves or others. But yeah, I hope you found this video very informative and as fun to watch as I found it to research and make. As ever, if you did enjoy, please like and subscribe and comment what you thought. If I got anything wrong, I probably did get a lot of things wrong. It's a very simplified version. I don't know everything, and nobody knows everything. So yeah, have a great day, and hopefully I shall see you later. Bye bye.